everyone today.
One of these nights around 12 o'clock.
Feed everyone today.
This old world's gonna really rock.
Feed everyone today. Well, there's honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock. Honey in the rock. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed everyone today.
Freedom is the song we sing.
Feed everyone today.
We shall make the mountains ring.
Feed everyone today. Well, there's honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock. Honey in the rock. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed everyone today.
Freedom is the song we sing.
Freedom is the song we sing.
Feed everyone.
Feed everyone today.
We shall make the mountains ring.
We shall make the mountains ring.
Feed everyone.
Feed everyone today.
Well, there's
Honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock. Honey in the rock. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed everyone today. Well, there's honey in the rock for all God's children. Honey in the rock. Honey in the rock. There's honey in the rock for all God's children. Feed everyone today.
Buenos dias y bienvenidos. Welcome to all of you. Welcome, DC Labor Chorus. Warm welcome. Woo! Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church is a place where love works. We are a liberal religious community where we gather together to explore the eternal, to nurture community and build a more just world. I am the Reverend Katie Romano Griffin, your assistant minister, and it is so good to be here today. And
my name is Tim Atkins, and I serve as your Director of Lifespan Religious Education. If you are new to Cedar Lane, we have a small gift for you. Please raise your hand and keep it raised for a moment so our ushers can find you. And please join us after the service for coffee and conversation. If you choose to use a yellow mug, our members and friends will be sure to greet you.
you know, Tim, this is our second year at Cedar Lane.
Yes, it is.
It's pretty great.
Number two. In fact, thanks to Facebook, I was reminded that 1 year ago today, I was actually moving down here. So,
outstanding.
Let's scoot away from each other, though.
That's right. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, whatever your sexual orientation or gender identity, wherever you are on this life's journey, whatever your beliefs, life circumstance, or immigration status, you are welcome here in this multicultural, multi-generational community. In this caring community, the pastoral visitors are an extension of the ministry team. Anne, can you give us a wave, Anne? Anne is today's on-call pastoral visitor who will be available during and after the service at the Joys and Sorrows candles. Please reach out to Anne if you'd like support either during or after the service.
I invite you to take a read through the insert in your order of service. This is a vibrant and engaged community, and we hope you find something to connect with this week among the scheduled events. A quick reminder that if you're new to Cedar Lane or are looking to become more engaged in Cedar Lane, you're invited to attend Cedar Lane 101 after the service with Reverend Katie in the library?
In the library. Twice a month, this generous community shares the plate with a worthy organization that is doing great work in our community. This month, this week, we're going to be sharing the plate with Shepherd's Table. Jackie Coyle, the executive director of Shepherd's Table, is going to share a few short words about the organization that we have a long history of working with. Welcome, Jackie.
I don't know, that song was perfect. And I kept thinking when you were singing and we were singing that you are the honey in the rock. You are the honey in the rock that feeds the people at Shepherd's Table. And I thank you. I thank you for that. I wanted to briefly just tell you a story about Baba. He is a client and meal guest of Shepherd's Table. He's been with us over 10 years. He's had a long struggle with addictions. He's had success and setbacks. His greatest success this year has been that he is now housed. And that is huge. He's one of over 335 chronically homeless individuals who were housed this year. Baba keeps coming back. He comes back for breakfast and lunch and other services. He gets encouragement and support. He gets his eyeglasses at our eye clinic, his prescriptions at our prescription assistance center. But you know what? After lunch, he goes home. And I said, Baba, what is it about your home that you love the most? And he said, Jackie, I get to cook. And I thought, wow, it's meal after meal that he prepares that builds his self-esteem. And when he comes back to us, we can support that. So thank you for sharing meals and making over 66,000 meals already this year possible. Thank you for making possible prescription assistance, for making eyeglasses possible, for coming and serving, for your financial support. I thank you. And I wanted to end with this quote from yesterday from President Obama. And he shared it at John McCain's funeral from Ernest Hemingway. Today is the only day of all other days that will ever be. But what will happen in all the other days will ever come can depend on what you do today. And I thank you for what you'll do today for Shepherd's Table. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Let us center ourselves with the words of the Reverend Sherry Woodbury. Here we are in our circle again, our circle of vision and reflection, a forum for deciding and empowering. Here we are at the base of another bridge, another space spanning the shores of today and tomorrow, beckoning us to cross the chasm, one day at a time. Here we are gathered again at the cusp of the future, at the boundary that holds community together. We are here in a circle of love and trust brought to this moment by a series of choices and promises, by hope and gratitude, by our own shadows faced and befriended. With a servant's heart, with a leader's listening, with a parent's love truer than all of our inner trembling, let us model the health we seek for all to lean into community. Somewhere out there, all we dream is possible. Somewhere in here, we are sowing the seeds. May it be so. Let us worship.
As Melissa Reichley, Travis Plager, and their children Ben and Henry come forth to kindle the chalice, please rise in body and or in spirit to share in unison the words printed in your order of celebration. We pause this morning from the chaos of the world to reclaim the beauty within these walls that carries us through our week. Let us lift this community onto our shoulders with pride and grace-filled expectations of our lives. For the children of the world and their children, this is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world. Bear this light to others one by one. Let the flame go from life to life till all is lit with its warmth. Tell that the light means wisdom. Tell that the light means kindness. Tell that the light means tolerance. Tell that the light means tolerance. Tell that the light means sacrifice. Tell that the light is a vision of a fairer world. Tell that this is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world. You may be seated. Come, wanderer, come, worshiper, come with your joys, your broken heart, your wholeness, and your loneliness. We gather as a single community in sacred space to meet the wonders and challenges life offers us all. Let us enter this time to gather strength and inspiration as we bear witness to the joys and sorrows in our community. When I hold up my arms, I invite you to say, we hold you in our hearts. If you are living through the small and extraordinary milestones of life, we hold you in our hearts. If parenting is your spiritual practice, we hold you in our hearts. If you live with or care for someone with grief or chronic pain, we hold you in our hearts. If you are struggling with illnesses seen and unseen, with mental illnesses or addictions, we hold you in our hearts. If you have suffered abuse or injustice, we hold you in our hearts. We celebrate the arrival of our new interim minister, Kristen Green. Kristen, we hold you in our hearts. Kay Scott has just returned from the hospital. Kay, we hold you in our hearts. And we hold in our hearts the cigar makers, dressmakers, printers, shoemakers, bricklayers, and other tradespeople who organized a one-day strike and marched in the first U.S. Labor Day parade in 1882. They risked losing their daily wages and their jobs to bring themselves and all of us today less work and more pay. We also hold in our hearts the Incarcerated Workers Organizing Committee and each incarcerated person participating in a nationwide prison strike. They too are asking for better working conditions, less work, and more pay.
We hold all these things and so much more in our hearts: personal challenges, local challenges, national challenges, global challenges, fights for personal rights and the rights of others. We battle illnesses, and we also celebrate joys. So many of these things are in the room and in our own hearts. Let us enter a space of prayer or meditation together as we contemplate what weighs on our hearts. Maybe opening our inner eyes as our outer eye closes, taking in that sacred breath, that pneuma, the word for both breath and spirit in ancient Greek. Spirit of life and love, breathing each and every one of us. In the inhale, the inspiration of each breath that we take, may we find inspiration in our lives. May we find joy. May we find hope. May we be the hope for others and draw hopeful people to us in this world. May we, with your great inspiration, that breath that fuels our cells and activates our minds, may we become the change we wish to see in this world. May it be so. Amen. And blessed be. I invite you to rise in body or spirit if you are mourning the loss of a loved one or the anniversary of a loss, as we enter the silence together. May you always remember that you are an integral part of this community, and may that knowledge remind you that you are never really alone. May it be so.
gotta follow that. All right. So I want to start off by naming something I've noticed during my first year as your director of Lifespan Religious Education. Now, what I'm saying is not to guilt or to shame anyone, but I think it shows some of the bigger picture that I want to discuss. So I've noticed there's an expectation that it's really parents who are the volunteers or who should be volunteering as teachers in our children and youth religious education program. Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily your individual opinion, but I've heard it expressed in both subtle and obvious ways. It's an attitude I want to work on changing over the upcoming year. You know, we should have many, many more non-parents teaching our children and youth than parents. And to me, that's the sign of a healthy religious education program, because it's a sign that the entire congregation views the religious education program as an essential ministry of the congregation. This expectation that parents are the ones teaching in the RE program comes from a mindset of, well, it's their kids in the program, so they should be the ones volunteering in the program. But these aren't just their kids. These are our kids. And these are our parents who could use some time for their own spiritual development. Now, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't extend an invite to each and every one of you to teach in our RE program this year. Part of my vision for religious education here involves changing our expectations we have of teachers. I am so thrilled that so many of our teachers want to be in the classroom every week, but that's also a pretty big ask of our volunteers. So in order to keep a continuity among teachers, but also give teachers the ability to take breaks, attend service, attend to their own spiritual needs, we're expanding our teaching teams to have 4 people on each team. So this means each teacher is teaching an average of 2 to 3 times a month. Now, the downside to that approach, we need double the number of volunteers than in years past. We're well short of that goal. A lot of people think you have to be an expert teacher or an expert Unitarian Universalist, whatever that means, in order to be a religious education teacher. That's not the case. The one thing that you do need is that you need to care. You need to care about our children and youth. You need to care that our children grow up grounded in our shared values. You need to care about the future that our children and youth will be able to create with your help. So you can sign up in the back of the sanctuary when the service ends. I'm hoping that at least 10 of you here in the sanctuary today sign up to teach. You'll have all the support I can provide and then some, and I promise it's not as scary as you think it might be. Now, with that pitch done, let's get back to the observation I had. So this congregation has one of the starkest upstairs-downstairs divides I've ever seen at a UU congregation. And this mentality that parents should be the teachers plays into that divide. I've heard several people here express that the RE program is like a church within a church. So folks sitting in these pews on a typical Sunday morning during the RE program year probably have very little idea that around 1/3 of our total attendance that day was someone under the age of 18, downstairs in one of our classrooms. We have to stop separating ourselves into this upstairs, downstairs mentality. In fact, I think we need to banish that phrase from our vocabulary, because when we use those words, what we're really doing is splitting our community into competing factions. We are one community. We are better together. So this congregation is extremely proud of its religious education program and its storied history, and that pride in the Cedar Lane RE program is most certainly warranted. But it becomes a danger when the focus and pride of the past outweighs the focus on being a relevant program for the current times and the future. So my focus over the upcoming year is going to be all about vision. Specifically, how can we create a religious education program that's relevant to the needs of today's families? So what will this program look like? That's up to you. During the upcoming year, we're going to go through an intensive visioning process for the family program here at the church, and everyone will have the opportunity to give input. So I was talking about this past week with our Lifespan RE ministry team, and asked them when the last time they participated in any kind of visioning process for the religious education program. They couldn't think of a time at all. They told me in the past that the vision has come from the top down. Well, I think this congregation needs to create its own vision for what a relevant religious education program looks like that meets the needs of today's families. Now, do I have my own ideas? Of course, that's why you hired me. But in the end, your ideas matter more than mine. For the religious education is not the DRE's program, it's Cedar Lane's. So let me repeat this because I think this might be my most important takeaway today. The religious education program's vision belongs to the congregation. The religious education program belongs to the entire congregation, not just the staff, not just the parents, not just the volunteer ministry team, the entire congregation. Now, I'm here to help tell you what's possible and to help make your vision happen. Imagine a program that was less focused on what we want our children to know and more focused on who we want our children to become. Imagine a program that was less focused on the 1 hour a week our children spend at church and more focused on the 100 hours a week that children are with their families. Imagine a program that was less focused on teaching and more focused on mentoring. Imagine a program that was less focused on achieving the curriculum lesson for the day and more focused on building authentic relationships with and among the students. Imagine a program that was focused on connections, connecting families with each other, connecting adults with children, connecting children with adults, connecting everyone to the faith. Imagine a church where families were at the core of the church. What could that look like? Maybe we would have free childcare every night so that parents could attend any number of meetings, choir rehearsals, special events, you name it. And what would it look like if we broadened our definition of family, away from the traditional structural model and toward a model that celebrated families of one, families that don't live in the same city together, families with no children, and families with no blood relation at all? What if when we talked about family ministry, we were really talking about every single individual within these walls? The possibilities are endless. So this year, we're going to work on creating that vision for the family ministry program together, because we are better together. One way we're better together is recognizing the milestone of starting a new year of school, a new job, a new stage of life. And one way we do this is through our annual blessing of the backpack ceremony.
We preface this ceremony by giving thanks to the Reverend Archie Turner. Reverend Archie Turner has written this blessing and for many years led this service. I also want to acknowledge what a gift it is to be able to own a backpack and go to school. These gifts are not universal, and thus we take a moment now to give thanks for our backpacks and for our education, as well as our teachers, our administrators, the custodians, and community members who work to ensure that schools are creative, progressive, safe spaces for all. I'd like to invite everyone present with a backpack, a briefcase, a tool, a purse, to come forward to be blessed. Join us in front of the mics and be present before the community. We have something special for you. And I invite everyone here as our friends, our children, all come forward to enter a mindful space of loving kindness, hope, and faith as we begin a responsive blessing. When Tim or I hold up an arm, please repeat after us. Dear ones, as your backpack, your purse, your tool is with you, carry it to nourish your mind, your heart, your body, and your spirit. We hold these items as sacred objects this morning, and we bless them with these words so that you're filled by days spent reading, writing, problem solving, singing, dancing, and experimenting. We bless your mind. We bless your mind.
So that in every classroom, hallway, cafeteria, and schoolyard, you treat others kindly and others treat you kindly. We bless your heart.
We bless your heart.
We bless your body.
We bless your body. For the days when you get all the answers wrong, the days you serve a detention, and the days you don't care about anything, we bless your mind. We bless your mind. So that you are aware in the morning, energized during the day, and always able to get a good night's sleep, we bless your body. We bless your body. For the days you need a friend but cannot find one, and the days when you can't stand anybody and want to be alone, we bless your heart.
We bless your heart. For the days when you are so sleepy, the days when your burden is too heavy, the days when your backpack weighs a ton, we bless your body.
We bless your body. Throughout this entire year, as you go through all the successes and all the failures that go along with learning new ideas, meeting new people, taking risks, growing in heart and mind and body.
We want you to know that you are good. No matter what, you are good. And so we bless your spirit.
We bless your spirit. Let it be so. Go forth, great thinkers, doers, adventurers, students of life, and wear your blessed item with grace and pizzazz. May it be so. I invite you all to rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 20. Thank you. One of my mentors, the Reverend Mary Manison Morrissey, is a Unity minister, and she shared this riddle with me. So I invite you to put your thinking caps on. And imagine with me a glass vase that is wide at the top, it's about 5 feet tall, really skinny in the middle, like super skinny, this skinny, maybe 2 to 3 inches, and then it flares out at the bottom. And inside this clear glass vase is a duck, a living duck that has not been harmed for the purposes of this riddle, right? So stay with me. We've got this vase, right? Big at the top, narrow in the center, big at the bottom, it's completely solid, and there's a duck in it. How do we get the duck out without hurting the duck or breaking the vase? How do we do it? Ooh, we haven't invented teleportation yet, but I love that. The answer is we imagine it out, because that's how we got it there in the first place. Every day, we imagine our world into being. We do. We wake up in the morning, and a lot of times what we do is we go through some old files that are on our computer, and we look at things that we have done and the ways that we have lived our days before. And we look at those old files and kind of predict how the day is going to go. So we use our imagination to go backwards to predict our future. This congregation decided to imagine and dream a bold vision a few years ago. A bold vision. But I wonder if we're still looking at old files, trying to use that information to create a new future. And we can't do that. We need to start to invent and create and imagine new ways of being. And we have a blueprint for that. It's we commit to exploring the eternal, nurturing community, and building a just world. In that order, exploring the eternal is the foundation of all of our work. There's a reason social justice is last. It springs from our faith. As a Quaker friend of mine once says, it springs from our faith. It is not a replacement for it. The foundation is that we explore the eternal together with our spiritual practices as individuals. And we have meditations cached online and on our YouTube channel that you can listen to, and experience that Reverend Abi and I create each and every month that go along with the themes to help you develop a meditation practice. We have meditation classes here and yoga. We have periods in our service during our worship that invite the spaciousness that allows us to move out of that everyday stress and hustle of just trying to get things done to a place where we can imagine a different world and imagine who we wish to become in this world we're dreaming about. This year, we're planning on holding 2 spiritual retreats to help us explore the eternal together. I'm going to hold a prayer class in the fall for anyone who's interested in exploring prayer. One need not believe in God in order to come to the prayer class. I promise you. We're going to have some classes led by the Reverend Abi Janamanshi on world religions. I believe we're starting in the fall with Hinduism. And we have something that is very rare. We have a labyrinth that this community created. And walking a labyrinth is a wonderful way to do some internal spiritual work. So we're going to be bringing out the labyrinth more this year. These are just some of the ways that we explore the eternal together and nurture community. We have amazing principles and values, but in isolation, they are no good to us. What makes us whole is being in community, being held accountable to those values, loved when we fall down, and held when our lives fall apart. Did anyone notice on their name tags, if you're a member, it says neighborhood and a number? If you don't, good, okay. And if you don't have a neighborhood and a number, let me know, because we have something called a We Care team, and everyone is in a neighborhood. And one of the ways we care for each other is if a pastoral visitor or I get a call that someone's been in the hospital and they just got home, sometimes we reach out to a We Care team leader in the community, and then they reach out to the We Care community and say, can you drop off a casserole? There's a new baby, and this family could use a little extra support, or someone can't get to services anymore. Can you be part of a team that provides rides? Can you be someone that checks in on your neighbor periodically to let them know that they matter? This is how we live into recognizing the inherent worth and dignity in each other. This is how we say we are all interconnected and worthy. Our pastoral visitor team is truly an extension of the ministry team, and I want to let you know these folks have made upwards in some months of 70 hours of caring visits to hospital bedsides, to community homes, individual conversations in the library, at coffee houses, at people's homes. It's one of the ways we nurture community. We have the National Association of Mental Illness offering support groups here on site. We plan to hold more grief workshops, caregiver college. It's something we had this summer. We're going to have it again because a lot of us, and I just joined this cohort, I'm a sandwich generation person now, where I have children and I'm also caring for elders in my family. We want to support everyone on that spectrum, those being cared for and those doing the caring, and we have programming to do that. We'll be doing some 5-wish planning, healthcare surrogate classes, and we also have a support group called Families Weathering the Storm, and this is for families whose loved ones live with addiction or mental illness, which touches us all in some way. We're going to be offering a transgender inclusion course that will be open to the entire community as we continue to work to break down this ridiculous gender binary and educate ourselves on what it means to live in a world with a spectrum that represents all genders, and how we can use that information to be a truly welcoming community. We're going to be holding a class in January called Beloved Conversations. It begins in January and will go on for 8 weeks. And this is an opportunity for those of us who would like to have deeper conversations about race together, to struggle with challenging conversations and let love rise up to wrap around us all as we build this new world with racial equality. Let's talk about our justice work that is rising up from the way we nurture community inside our walls and inside our own hearts. In the listening sessions that we did last year, so many people asked questions about doing work that's theologically grounded. Where's our UU theology in what we do? The social justice team just voted to invite Sacred Fire UU to come and teach a course with us, for us, called Sacred Fire Social Justice. And this is grounded in our UU theology. It's going to help us to look at the justice work we're doing, the quality of relationships that we are creating, the accountability in our relationships, and how to nurture those as we evaluate our social justice programming. So we are not just reactive, but proactive in creating that world that we're dreaming about, and proactive in becoming the grounded, spiritually alive people we are called to be in order to create that world. That's a lot, right? I know. But it is deeply nourishing work. And we can do it because together we can do more. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. I'm excited to take your emails and your phone calls and your questions so that we can do this work more deeply and intentionally. Please keep engaging with me and keep engaging with each other, asking those good questions that will move us from those old files we used to have to creating a new operating system that we can use to power this new world. Let's do it together. May it be so. Amen. And blessed be. It is with a full heart that I invite this incredibly committed and generous community to once again enter into our weekly offering. Remembering that we are sharing the plate with Shepherd's Table, which is doing so much good in our community. Today's offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you.
We need the Buddhists and the Baptists, the Quakers and the Catholics too, the atheists and agnostics, Muslims and the Jews. We need people from all nations, all colors and all creed. Put an end to war, put an end to greed. Gonna take us all to make a change. Take us all to win the peace. Gonna take us all in the streets. Gonna take us all. Gonna take us all. We need the immigrants and the unions, Greens and the gays, hip-hoppers and the beboppers and the women for equal pay, farm workers out in the sun, homeless out in the rain, seniors and the soccer moms for a world that is humane. Gonna take us all to make a change, take us all to win the peace. Gonna take us all in the streets. Gonna take us all. Gonna take us all. We need your friends and your neighbors, poets and the painters, socialists and the anarchists, pacifists and the humanists. Every culture and community takes black and white and brown. Times we won't see eye to eye, but we stand on common ground. Gonna take us all to make a change, take us all to win the peace. Gonna take us all in the streets. Gonna take us all. Gonna take us all to make
take us all to win the peace. Gonna take us all in the streets. Gonna take us all. Gonna take us all. Gonna take us all.
Thank you so much, DC Labor Chorus. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, my heart is so full. Thank you to the AV team that's working really hard with the video going and streaming live and all of these microphones. It's a lot of hard work. Thank you so much. Thank you to the whole worship team, our ushers and greeters and pastoral visitors, and all of you who came here today with your hopes and your dreams for this new year to come into community so we could be together. Thank you. May you go forth into this week with great joy and expectation for all that is to come, and a remembering that next week we have 2 services. Many blessings. Continue to vision, continue to dream, and continue to imagine a new world that you can become a new person for. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.
Sia hamba kukan yene kwaikos. 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 Yene kwaikos. Sia hamba sia hamba sia hamba kukan yene kwaikos. Yene kwaikos. Sia hamba sia hamba sia hamba kukan yene kwaikos. We are building a community. 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 We are building, we are building, we are building a community. We are building, we are building, we are building a community. We are fighting for a living wage. 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 We are fighting, we are fighting, we are fighting for a living wage. We are fighting, we are fighting, we are fighting for a living wage. We are working for a better world. 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 We are working, we are working, we are working for a better world. We are working, we are working, we are working for a better world. Sia hamba kukan yene kwaikos. 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 Sia hamba sia hamba kukan yene kwaikos. Sia hamba sia hamba kukan yene kwaikos.